Chicago with the lead.
Court, Batista with the catch.
Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Hand down, man down.
Yeah, I can see how disrespectful he's being right now.
No, I went to Temecula and brought you some dirt.
Yeah, that's a technical.
Mama, there goes that man.
Welcome back to The Bounce, brought to you proudly by Bite Size Sports. I am Kev. With me, as always, is my good friend James, and we have a special guest with us tonight. My other brother, my other good friend, Nate. What you got there? What you drinking? How you doing, sir?
Doing great. I am drinking a Eclipse beer from Clues Brewery out of Lebanon. It is a strawberry pastry stout.
Ooh, how is it? You give us a little beer rating here.
It's pretty solid, but it's honestly real thin. Like, it's not watery, but it's watery, if that makes sense.
It's not what I envision usually when I hear about a stout. Sort of.
So it's fine. I mean, I don't hate it, but there's certainly better. It's only 6% ABV, so that might be a part to play in that.
Ooh, okay. Well, you're making me thirsty for something other than this grape juice I got over here. But James, how are you, sir? And what do you think about Nate's beer taste? I think you've got a little bit more of a up close and personal.
Yeah, I saw Nate last Saturday. We hit up old Taxman and Indy together. Nate's got good taste in beer. I'll give him credit where credit is. Also, Nate, shout out to the bride last weekend. I guess she had a little too much fun, so shout out her. But nah, you got to trust Nate's beer. His taste in beer is exquisite. So trust what he got to say.
Well,
I'll give you that. Unless you're not a fan of sours, then steer clear.
Yeah, if you don't want to taste test, probably not your guy.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Fire away in the comments in the chat if you have any questions or topics you want us to cover tonight. We can see you out there on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the usual spots. We'd love to hear from you, hear your thoughts on the goings on around the league. And don't forget, it's not football season anymore, but baseball's bounced too. So if you got any thoughts on action around the diamond, let us know. And there we go. First one, Lee, before we hop into any topics, we have our usual Thursday night NBA update. Very easy to keep up with tonight. Celtics getting killed, eh, James? You got the score in front of you?
They are down 18, 105-87, 6:30 left in the fourth. Probably done.
Woo!
Not looking good
Game
for him.
over. Time to overreact?
No, I don't think so, personally. I mean, I feel like the Celtics team is probably guaranteed every series, however far they go, to at least have one stinker of a game. I wouldn't worry.
I don't disagree, but I was skeptical to begin with. Like, I think the Celtics are going to win the series, but they blew them out in the first game. They were favored by 12, but I was like, I don't get the belief that these guys are all worldly. Like, yes, they had the best regular season, but guess what? Their coach is still Joe Mazzulla. Porzingis is out this whole series. Like, Donovan Mitchell's been a fucking monster in the playoffs. Like, we're just going to count the Cavs out? Like, I ain't fucking about that shit. Made it 4 minutes.
I'm not. Yeah, we made it. Don't worry. I'm not about it either, James. So don't worry. You are not alone. I am here with you when it comes to this right here. It's 107-87 right now. 20-point game.
Over.
I agree with what Nate said. Not just the Celtics. I mean, definitely true about the Celtics, but every team in a 7-game series, I think you can afford one just dud. It's playing the same team 7 times. A lot can happen. And there's a certain we'll get them next game mentality that I think a lot of coaches and players probably rightfully, smartfully have. If you get down a certain point with however many minutes left in the game, I think it's different based on each team rotation situation. But you kind of just wave the white flag and say, hey, we're not going to waste any more of our energy on tonight. Like, we're going to go back and get them into, like, we're down 17 with 6 minutes left. Like, let's get these guys out, or whatever that number is for anybody. So getting blown out is nothing, in my opinion, to ever overreact about, unless, I don't know, maybe if it's game 6 and that's when you get blown out, when you could have closed it out,
then it's not good.
and the other team gets, so if you get blown out in game 6 at home, yes, I will hit the emergency game over, man, game over. But somebody losing in the first 2 games, getting blown out, I'm not too stressed about it, but I am a believer in Cleveland. I think they could be good enough, and Boston, honestly, we've talked about it throughout the whole back half of the regular season, as we saw that they were going to be the top dog in the East. Is this going to be the year that they get over the hump? Because they've found ways to kind of fall apart over the last few years in the playoffs. So I don't know. It's not a good look for them. 5 minutes left in that game, so we'll keep on it. Lee points out their playoff record at home sucks last 3 years, which is not something indicative of Celtic, right? They used to, back in the old days, back even before we were around, they used to believe there was a leprechaun, protecting. That's how good the home court advantage in Boston used to be. Made up ghosts. Not happening anymore. And we've got, man, just a 20-point whooping. 5 minutes left. We will check back into it.
24 now.
It's 24 now.
Yeah,
wow, my phone's not updating quite as quickly. Jeez. Well, we're going to hit a couple of smaller topics before we dive into each individual series here in the playoffs. And before I hit my agenda, Nate, you actually have something. You said some big WNBA news, something about charter flights. You got to
they're starting, I believe, next year. They're going to be having charter flights in the WNBA moving forward, because they fly commercial. And I want to say the New York Liberty got in trouble and had a fine recently because they tried to have charter flights under the table. But yeah, so WNBA is going to commit $50 million over the next 2 years to have full-time charter flights for everyone regarding safety. Because I mean, I saw a video. It wasn't, I guess, super terrible, but just Caitlin Clark getting harassed in the airport, the stuff with Brittany Griner in Russia, thankfully she's back, but I can't imagine some of the stuff that you might have to deal with PTSD potentially. So this is just probably a better overall thing for the health of the league, but that's, I hate to say it, but it's big news for the WNBA.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Probably you're thinking that, like, though they're finally here. It's unfortunately big news, but it is a huge step to have that. Probably will help in other areas. It reminds me of, and Nate, I think you probably remember this. I don't recall the exact NCAA tournament, if it was last year, if it was 2 years ago or what, but footage started going out of the difference in the men's and women's weight rooms
2 years ago, I think. Yep.
Yeah,
and it was 2021. The I guess let's just call it the COVID year tournament.
Yeah, it was a COVID year. Yeah, because the weight rooms were built. That was the big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they all had to be handmade anyway, and then so there. I mean, this is an argument that we've had, not just us, everybody's had. There's the whole financial side of it. You have to make money to spend money. And with some of the bigger names, some of the stars that are coming into the league, it's kind of the perfect time to be able to reinvest and bet on yourselves a little bit as a league. So you feel bad for all the superstars and the Olympians that, were probably riding around on buses like they're on a AAA baseball team, or, flying coach and all that stuff. So it's great that they're there now, though. You know, all we can work with is what we have. So big news for the WNBA. Shout out to the Indiana Fever, future champions. They're probably going to get one before my Pacers. We won't talk
Most
about
likely.
that. We're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about, fellas, is Big Baby Davis has struck again. It's become almost a recurring segment here, James.
It's our guy.
When we last saw Glenn Davis,
He was doing porn.
That's right. A new
Much more positive news.
which a lot cooler than what we're about to talk about, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Nate, have you heard about Big Baby Davis's insurance fraud? It's related directly to the NBA.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it until I looked it up, but you know, he's not the only one that's getting in trouble for this. And
no, there's 22 people who are a part of it. Yeah.
So, you know, quite a few. My understanding of the situation is, you know, basically, to put it down to layman's terms, false claims against insurance.
Yes, correct. Yes.
You tell me NBA players are faking being hurt? Because that is news to me. I am absolutely shocked by that, sir. You mean to tell me that load management is bullshit?
I'm trying to see what they did exactly. I'm reading through it right now.
Well, you said 22 players, James. As you're looking at that, is it obviously
18,
it's not
22
all
people,
active.
18 of them former players, Terrence Williams and Keon Dooling, two other names. Will Bynum is in it.
Yeah, he got 18 years.
18 months.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not 18 years. Due to lying to a jury while under oath.
Yeah, he lied. Yeah.
Shouldn't do that. Not when you're under oath. Probably not just any of the time. Kenny's here. What's up? Yes, we will. We will certainly talk about that here soon. But man, a bit of a screw job at the Pacers' expense. But right now, Big Baby Davis and a few other former players tried to screw the NBA.
I don't know exactly what happened.
Big news here. John says if the Nuggets win a game, I'll do a shoey.
Game.
All right, come on. I'm the biggest Nuggets fan right
game.
now.
Yeah, just one. He just says a game.
Lee, we're gonna put a bow on Big Baby now. I think we need to move into new territory. Lee says, don't they have to have doctors that give false testimony? I would imagine there's going to be a couple of guys in that department that get taken down as well. And so there you have it. Big Baby Davis served some time already. He's doing, I think, what was the month time? He's going to be on probation. It's a longer probation sentence.
He's got
40 months in prison, 3 years
supervised
release.
Yeah.
But wow. I'm sure he'll, you know, depending on how prison goes for him, I'm sure that 40 months isn't necessarily going to end up being 40 months.
Oh, yeah. He's going to have a 6-month stay at summer camp, and then he'll have an ankle bracelet where he can at least just make his porn at home. So there you have it, folks. The Big Baby Davis update for, we'll say, the month. Hopefully these don't become a weekly thing. I'm not into that, but
hopefully not, but you never know at this
point. You know, it's just like the situation in IndyCar with that scandal, with the push to the path scandal, which it would take a lot to describe it. So, you know, for another time, but they're still talking about this, and it's been a couple weeks at this point, and people are just real tired of talking about it. So I totally get that, Kevin.
Yeah, just like Pacers fans are going to get real tired about talking about officials here soon. You know how that goes. But we're going to put a pin in that for now. And honestly, we're going to pivot away from some of the smaller topics. We got to talk about a head coach getting fired, and his alleged replacement is got me pulling one of these, James. But before we do that, we've got John in the chat now. Nate, I believe, is here specifically to ruin John's day. And we all know how James feels about the Nuggets. So let's do it, guys. Minnesota, Denver. What the hell is going on?
Oh
I'm
my
going to have some
God.
more pointed questions later, but generally speaking, I'm going to put the ball in your hands first, James, because you've been their champion from day one on the
Oh,
bounce.
man.
What's going on?
It was always the Nuggets question mark. I mean, me and John talked about this. We got to both eat our words. We both said this Two Towers Minnesota Timberwolves team, when they built it last year, wasn't going to fucking work. It didn't work last year, and suddenly they are up 2-0, and they made the Nuggets in game 2 look like they forgot what fucking basketball was. Like 106 to 80.
Rough.
They're gonna lose the playoff game, John. I can't wait to get this on fucking an episode of Bite Size Sports.
You got to walk on your hands right after the shoey too.
Here's what he needs to do, since he's a native Minnesotian here. When he takes that shoey, he needs to throw some lutefisk in the shoe, and then eat the lutefisk after doing the shoey.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
What is that? Is that when I move, you move kind of stuff? What is this? A ludicrous? What?
Lutefisk. It's a Swedish fish delicacy. Basically, yeah, we'll call it a delicacy. Basically, it gets put in a barrel with like lye and some other stuff. I don't remember offhand.
Should you make soap with?
It's edible.
Take this with a grain of salt, folks, because that's coming from a man who considers Malort to be a delicacy.
That is correct, yes.
While you can trust his beer takes all day long. I don't know about this.
Oh.
Is that Swedish for crow? Oh, my goodness. So John is he's very confident about the
John
Wolves.
is hot right now. He's loving life.
I don't blame him for feeling that way, because the Nuggets did lose both of their home games. So they're in a bit of a spot.
Lee is not done.
Nuggets
Lee isn't quitting yet. Lee isn't quitting yet.
Okay. All right, Nate. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be? You agree with Lee? Is it going to be Nuggets in 6? They coming back from this?
I'm going to say Nuggets in 7. I think that
it's not over yet.
I think the Nuggets are going to show the T-Wolves how you get it done. Once you're down and the chips are down.
Fuck yeah, Nate. Fuck you, John.
So,
can we remove John's wrench? Can we get rid of the wrench for this show? God damn
it! Just for this one.
Just for this one. They can come back after tonight.
Hey, Jimmy might be in Minnesota next season. He's not going to be in Miami, which was something I forgot to put on the docket.
It's not going to be a sweep. Give me the Nuggets tomorrow in game 3. Like, they're going to fucking remember how to play basketball. For Lord's sakes, they've been the best team for 2 straight fucking years. Like, they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, for my money, the Nuggets absolutely are. They're winning game 3. I think it's going to be.
They better remember how to play offense. That's what they need.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Because that's the memes about Minnesota's defense against Jamal Murray has been hilarious. And he kind of been fighting for his life out here. But I agree with James in that much. They're going to make adjustments. They're going to do better. They're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league for the last.
Yeah, they won it last year. They've not forgot how to play basketball.
And they have the MVP. So I don't see a team that's this good getting swept. Like, they're just, as much as I love this Minnesota team and what they've done, they're not that much better than the Nuggets. Like I would say they play each other 10 times. They're very rarely are they going to beat the Nuggets by 20. I just don't think they're 20 points better than the Nuggets every single night. I think that obviously they have it within them to beat that team by 20 plus points. I'm not saying that was a fluke. I'm just saying if they played each other 82, if that's all the regular season was, it's not going to be 20-point ass whoopings every night that Minnesota's handing out. So I think it's going to tighten up. I am shocked, to be honest, because I have to fall on my sword with you guys as well, because I was a doubter had torched all my Neil Diamond records because I did not believe in the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Neil been referenced 2 nights in a row.
I'm a believer, man. I'm working on it. Now I got to find a third one.
Yeah, no.
I'll get ready.
Hey, but you know what though? If we're gonna go to random '80s music references here, I think James is going to be bumping for the next week or so. I Still Believe by The Call.
Yeah,
he's going to be bumping that one.
Oh yeah, I ain't quitting. I ain't quitting yet.
Meanwhile, John has had "We Are the Champions" on repeat for about 3 or 4 days. Just boom.
Yeah, he's just playing. We are the champions. It ain't over yet, John. It ain't fucking over yet.
Jamal Murray is having his night bottle, he says, which is a great subtopic that I wanted to talk to you two about while we were spending some time with this series. What do we think about the NBA's decision? Was it a simple fine for Jamal Murray, who I know at least he threw a towel at the court. He was throwing stuff in the direction of the court. He was not throwing basketballs at fans' heads. So let's be clear. We're going to talk about that situation as well.
Mm-hmm.
James, we'll start with you. What are your unbiased thoughts on Jamal Murray's punishment? Should he have been suspended? Should he be missing at least one game of this series? No?
Don't fucking ruin NBA playoff series with suspensions unless they're extremely warranted. Like extremely, extremely warranted. The NBA, was it the Sun series they wrecked when they suspended them? Like, don't. We're throwing something on the court, whatever. Like, do not wreck NBA playoff series because of suspensions. Unless they're well earned. You punch somebody, like
stomp somebody in the groin.
You do something. Yeah, find the shit out. I don't care. You do something outrageous. You Draymond Green that shit. Like, you swing on somebody. I'm cool with it. It was stupid. It's dumb. Do not fucking burn game 3 down because you suspend their second best player. Don't do it.
Okay. Nate, before I go, what are your thoughts? Do you think Murray should have been suspended? Are you fine with the fine?
He probably should have gotten a game, honestly. Fine's kind of weak, and he's going to make that back in about 2 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really care, I guess.
I love that. Okay. And so my thoughts are this. First, I have a message for Jamal Murray. I think this was the most Bush League bullshit, weak-minded thing that you could have ever done in that moment. And I think you, of all people, should know better because you've had multiple years of your career ended early due to injury on the court. And so you're throwing shit out there that could get not just your opponents injured, but maybe your own teammates injured and could take seasons off of their career, take money out of their pocket. I hope that you feel a bit of shame about that and that you come back better and you earn it for your team. Obviously, everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. This isn't the most heinous thing I've ever seen, but you really should know better and you should do better. That being said, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm really iffy on a suspension. Generally speaking, I agree with James. I think the refs not only need to loosen up as far as suspensions in the playoffs, I think they throw too many tic-tac technicals because their egos get hurt we're seeing people in the league getting technicals for just mean mugging someone after they make a basket. Like you should be allowed to have that energy while you play. It's almost a requirement to be great. And then you have these just, pardon my French, these douchebag referees who for some reason I think how you can be a referee and think that you're the important part, that you're the reason anyone's there, that all these players, by goddamn, they'd better treat you. You should treat everyone with respect, but you should also understand these are pro athletes and they might cuss at you because they care, because they're invested. They're playing for a championship. Of course, they're going to tell you to fuck yourself if they think you made the wrong call. Chill out about it, or don't apply for the job because it's a prerequisite for the job that you're going to get cussed at by everybody who's in that arena. And if you don't want to do it, fine, bow out. I used to do it. I don't do it anymore. Not the most rewarding job there is. Okay. Not a lot of people saying thank you, great job, ref, at the end of the game, but it's not, no one's there for you. Don't make it about you. Let the players play, let the coaches coach, and settle it on the court. So I'm just going to go with Bite Size Vikes saying that 2 more games against this defense is a worse punishment, and say that it worked out. Ball don't lie. All right. That the tale is old as time. Ball don't lie, boys. So we'll see how it goes. Any final thoughts on Denver, Minnesota before I move us to the next stop?
It ain't over yet, John. It ain't over yet.
Yeah, Minnesota sports in general are not successful in the postseason, so I've got no worries about this T-Wolves team doing anything the rest of the postseason there. So, it's all about choking season up north. So the T-Wolves are going to Heimlich maneuver themselves out of the playoffs.
Ooh, sorry, I had to hit the clip button there. Make sure I've got that bookmarked for later. Whoo, John, them fighting words. I give it over under, James. How many minutes you think before John pops up backstage? How many minutes before we're pulling him on the screen?
2. He's trying to figure it out right now. He's trying to get the kids to bed.
He's like, hang on, dude. Let me get my phone set up.
Just go to sleep. I gotta go argue. I gotta yell.
He's gonna be outside on his phone. Like, hey, I can't yell at you guys right now. My kids are asleep. But come on, guys. I'm coming for you. Oh my God. Also, the players are supplying entertainment to millions, so swallow your whistle.
He knows.
We're on the same page there. Big time agreement. You mentioned the Phoenix series previously. Before we get into the next playoff series that we're going to talk about, I want to talk to you guys about the coaching carousel in the NBA. Pacers legend Frank Vogel is out in Phoenix.
Stunning development.
Woo, shocking.
Saw that one coming.
But maybe folks didn't see this next part coming, James. I think I love it. I think you guys might like it. Rumor has it that Mike Budenholzer is a favorite to get that Suns job. James, good hire, good fit.
I'm not mad about it. We both kind of were on the Budenholzer got shafted, and when the Bucks lost last year, Giannis was out. He was dealing with some serious personal stuff. Got the short end of the stick. Obviously, the Bucks out again in the first round this year. Now on their second coach since they fired him. I'm okay with it. Like, I was substantially against Vogel hire from the beginning. Wasn't a fan of it. You got championship aspirations. You better get a guy. Like, I don't hate Budenholzer at all.
Yeah, I don't think Frank is the guy for your championship window.
No, he wasn't.
Not been his forte in the league. But what do you think, Nate?
Just as I changed my little headline there, how about Monty Williams for the Suns? Okay, in all seriousness, I guess, though, for real. I honestly don't know. I mean, I can't get any worse than Frank Vogel or Darvin Ham or what was the David Blodgett or whatever who was
David Blatt.
There we go.
The sound a bug makes when it runs into your windshield.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I think the Suns have a lot more problems than a coach, and that's a lot of things that they have to view in the offseason. That's now.
Yeah, I agree. And for those of you who didn't catch on, the windshield in my joke was named LeBron James. Poor David Blatt. Anyway, Mike Budenholzer is a much better fit. I just think he's one of the best coaches, one of the best head coaches out right now that doesn't currently have a job. James just laid it out for you. I've expressed my feelings on this multiple times. You know how I feel about the way he was fired from Milwaukee. Look how that has paid off for them.
They've done great without him.
I think they're going to be moving on from Doc Rivers sooner than later. I believe wholeheartedly that there's going to come a point in time next season where the Bucks will be paying 4 different head coaches, which is
I can
absolute
see it. Yeah.
waste. And then I wouldn't be surprised if this is Giannis's last contract in Milwaukee.
Major Bucks news for their future is Thanasis tore his Achilles, so the future of the Bucks franchise is really in flux right now.
That is, yeah. So they can't. Yeah, Robin is out. You better keep Batman around. They're not going to be nearly as good without him. Lee says this is where JJ should go for his first coaching job. So I'm going to put that to the group. What do you think, James? Would JJ be a good fit for the Bucks?
I don't want JJ to leave the booth, so I disagree vehemently.
Okay, so you don't want JJ anywhere.
I don't want JJ anywhere. I want him in the booth. So I'm not a fair assessment here. I think he should stay in the booth. He's awesome.
Yeah, we got to keep him there. Nate, do you think maybe Phoenix, because when you think of JJ Redick, you got to think of shooters. So maybe it's the Phoenix roster. That might have been what Lee was referencing as well. But so I'll pitch that one to you. Do you see JJ as a good fit for the Suns?
I think the Suns, because I'm in full support, they need to tear everything down and just reboot instead of trying to tread water with, a bunch of bloated contracts. I think they really need like a David Ross, Rick Renteria type of coach, just to, kind of build some nice, build some nice culture there, keep the ship a little bit righted, but you're not going to go anywhere with them. That's honestly what they need to do there.
You get you a Dusty Baker, even though he's long since shed that position. But okay, my thoughts on JJ stay the same. I think he should be an assistant coach first before anything. I think being an NBA head coach is up there. It's one of the most difficult, time-consuming, stressful jobs, despite his knowledge of X's and O's. Like, you're sitting there. I remember watching a clip with him and LeBron recently where JJ in their podcast thing that they're doing, and he's just asking LeBron, let's draw up a play with, theoretically, we've got prime JJ Redick, prime LeBron. What kind of play would you draw up for a game winner? And it's victory. It was Boston's play, victory. It's a play that a lot of coaches run, but it was just, as Bron is describing it, I know the name of it because I watched that clip, and JJ and it was hilarious because JJ's like, victory. And LeBron's like, yeah, exactly, we're winning. And JJ's like, no, that's victory. That Boston runs that. That's the name of that play. So despite that wealth of knowledge that he has, I think it's a fine line earning the respect of the players in the locker room. It's one thing to be a former player that could shoot, that makes a great podcast that people respect. It's another thing to be the guy running practice, telling you what to do it's when different. You're wrong. And I really think he should just go be an assistant coach for one of the better coaches in the league. He can speed run it. He's blessed to be able to speed run it, but let's not start him at a head coaching job. It's going to be the worst thing that happens to him. I don't think he would have longevity if he jumps directly into being a head coach. So those are my thoughts on JJ. Any final thoughts from you guys on the Phoenix opening? Anyone we haven't mentioned that might be a good fit there?
I actually haven't even really thought about it.
It could be. It might not be. It's either one of the most appealing or least appealing jobs in the NBA, depending on as they brought up what they do with those contracts.
It's a hard.
It feels like
it's not.
Oh, what's his name?
Tough, man. It's a tough job. It's tough. It's championship or bust, man.
It's like when Paul Silas, when his kid got that Rockets job, and then like 2 days later, Harden was gone or something. He had Harden. Yeah. He's like, I'm a win now coach. It was his first head coaching job, and then within the first week, his 2 all-stars are gone. He's got nothing. He's just got a bunch of rookie prospects.
I don't think they're trading any of them. I don't think that new owner is not going to do it.
I've already seen an article that says Kevin Young, and he just left to go to Provo.
I hate to rule it out because we've seen it happen, some weird things, but yeah, feels like it's reaching if somebody's just inked a new deal to think. I mean, it could, again, I think it's an attractive job, but damn, I also think
Yeah,
you
it's
want to
hard to
talk
turn
about a
down.
difficult task. Dude, you want to be Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's head coach as your first job. That ain't going to be easy.
Don't forget Bradley Beal, and guess what? You have no money, so
And no bench.
yeah.
Oh, man, that's gonna be a lot of frustration. That's gonna be a lack of accountability in certain areas. I wouldn't want anything to do with that. That's George Karl needs to come out of retirement and coach the Phoenix Suns, because that would just be a comedy. We would all
Yes, it
enjoy the
would.
hell out of that.
You know, the way things are going, with no money and no depth, at this point, the Suns are going to have to go sign Taco Fall out of the Chinese basketball league.
Hey, bring him back.
Hell yeah.
He's right up there, dude. It's Wemby, and then right behind him are Bol,
Yep.
Taco Fall. Changing the game out here. Let's dive into the MVP award race, and then we will move from there into the Thunder Dallas series, because some folks believe that the Thunder's go-to guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, was a snub, an MVP snub. I am on the record as saying I thought Jokic would not win this year, simply out of what we've come to call voter fatigue, and that historically speaking, whoever's voting on the MVP award doesn't really like to see the same guy winning it a lot. They, asked LeBron about that. But James, I'm sure you're thrilled with this, so I'm going to have you start. How do you feel about Jokic as the MVP? Shaq did not like it. Do you like it? Do you think it was the right call?
He's been the best player in the league for the last 4 or 5 years. And I compare it to LeBron. LeBron should have more MVPs than he got. But voter fatigue set in and people didn't want to give him another one, So I'm glad the voters did. Like, Shai I can hear the argument. I can hear the Luke argument. I'm not going to be mad that he got it. I think he deserves it. And I'm tired of these people being like, well, he got it last year. He got it 2 years ago. Oh, now he's got 3. What do we do? Like, it's not how you fucking vote for it. It's a year-to-year basis. You base your decision on what their stats were and what they did this year. Period. That's it. Like,
yeah,
I have a lot of qualms with.
If you're sick
I
of
have
it.
a lot. Exactly. I have a lot of qualms with LeBron, but he got screwed a couple years there. He should have more. I think Shaq got knocked out of 1-2 on stuff. Like, it's just dumb. Like, I hate those arguments. They're stupid. Well, we gave it to him last year. Last year was fucking last year. If the Wolves sweep the Nuggets, we're not going to be talking about last year anymore. The Nuggets aren't the reigning champ. It's so irrelevant. Like, I hate those fucking arguments, man. So stupid.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. I echo everything James just said, so I won't repeat it. Nate, what about you? Do you think Shai got screwed, or was this the right call?
No, I mean, he got screwed in the sense he just so happens to be playing at the same time as probably the current best player in the world right now, in the same time frame. But I mean, it happens. In my experience. Now, again, this is a fan vote, so not exactly the same thing, but like the same person won most popular driver in NASCAR for like 16 to 17 years. So, I mean, I guess I can see maybe the voter fatigue thing, but who cares? If he's the best, he's the best. If he's the most deserving, who cares if he's won it 3 out of the last 4 years?
I agree with you guys completely. And I'm just looking at the stats here. I was trying to pull up I wanted to see how many free throws per game they both attempt, because that's been a bit of an argument on each side. Twitter arguments are great for your health and your mental well-being, but a lot of people are saying SGA is a free throw merchant. Other people will say the same about Jokic. But yeah, Jokic also, sometimes we forget about the verbiage of the most valuable player. we're talking about Jokic leads his team. He not only does he almost average a triple-double, but he leads his team in scoring, rebounds, and assists. That to me is the definition of the most valuable player. He's the best player on one of the best teams, and maybe this is where I'm wrong. And take my word with a grain of salt, because despite being a Cubs fan and being able to celebrate Andre Dawson's historic MVP for a last place team, I do think winning games should matter in the MVP as well. I think if your team wins 20 games, you should be scoring 40 a night, triple doubles, maybe. Like, you should just be clearly the best out there. But when it's close like this, he's the best player on one of the top 3 teams in the league. Maybe you could say the same thing about Shea. I will say 15 votes seemed a little light. I thought maybe it should have been a closer vote there, but no, the best guy has to win. And I maybe this is a sign that this trend is breaking in the NBA, and going forward, we can just have the right guys go in and not be about who he got it last time, so he's out. I did see Shaq's
I didn't
reaction.
see it. I missed. I've heard about it. I did not see it.
Yeah, I saw it, but also I want to say, because this is relevant to you, Kev. Also, Paul Hornung won the Heisman on a 2-8 team way back in the day. So,
Different era.
Oh boy. Yeah, so I'm a huge hypocrite here. I feel like a Knicks fan being like, yeah, the refs totally gave us that one, but I'll take it. What am I going to do? Turn it down? Shaq's reaction, I didn't see it as much as I saw the quotes from it, where it just sounds like he has a problem with it. A strange take from him. You would think Shaq, considering the similarities to their position and size and stuff, I would think Shaq would have had some sympathy for the big fella. But what's even more interesting to me is Shaq is known. This is not me making any accusations. He has said this on national television before, that he doesn't watch all the games. I'm pretty sure he only watches the games that he's at work for. When Mac McClung won the dunk contest, he said, "Everyone knows your name now," not knowing that he was the only person in the world of the NBA who didn't know who that kid was. We'd all been watching him since he was in high school. So Shaq, I think, is a part-timer. I don't think he's really ever tuned in, doesn't really ever know what's going on. So I think, personally, this was just Shaq playing the game and trying to throw a hot take in there, get some clicks, get some views. I doubt both these guys play at 10:30. So on nights he's not working, I don't think Shaq is out here watching Thunder Sacramento games in the middle of the regular season on his nights off. I just don't think he is. So press X to doubt on Shaq's feedback. Surprised to not see him stand up for his boys. But while we're talking about the Thunder, they have a game underway, correct? Last time I looked, it was a 10-point lead. Are things still a little ugly in the first quarter?
19-15 Mavs.
Yep, closer, yep.
19-15 Mavs. Okay, so I know the series has officially started, but Nate, I'm going to kick it to you first. What do you see playing out? Who do you have winning this series?
I got Doncic putting the team on his back.
Oh,
like Greg Jennings and Madden, and just taking them to the next round. I don't think this Thunder team had to deal with a ton of adversity. Man, I cannot talk today. So I just, I feel good about that. I mean, it's been pretty chalky for the most part. I mean, yeah, the Pacers were the 6th seed over the 3, but
Asterisk. I know.
I know.
Pacers. I hate to say it.
Yeah, Pacers were a better team in that series. So, I'm taking the Mavs.
He likes the Mavs. Now, I know if Keebler were here, follow him. Can't believe I'm saying this current time. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter at the Knicks Stop. All right. Okay. Yep. Keebler would say Mavs are winning this. He'd probably say Mavs in 6. Lee says Thunder in 6. What do you think, James? Is it going to be Luka, or will the Thunder roll on to the next one?
I do. I'm a Thunder believer, and I love Luca. I just think the Thunder are a more complete team, and Luca, like Nate said, Luca's gonna have to do it a lot by himself. I think the Thunder are a deeper, better team. Period. So I like the Thunder. Thunder in 6 is a good one. I agree with Lee there.
Thunder in 6. We are going to roll it tic-tac-toe, baby. Line them up, cross it through. I think it's Thunder in 6 as well. I'm also going to echo some of Nate's points. Sure, Luka's going to win you at least one by himself. We've talked about this before. Kyrie might have a great fourth quarter, win you one. But on the other side of the ball, you've got SGA who can go shot for shot with these guys. Yep. And as you both mentioned, the Thunder are a much deeper team. They're going to have guys, they're going to have role players come in scoring 12 points here, 16 points here, help them get wins. I don't know that Dallas is going to get that, but Nate, it looks like you have a rebuttal, sir.
I'm just basically, I don't want to see anything with the Thunder be successful because I'm so tired of that stupid fucking commercial. Like, good Lord. Like, you guys don't deserve anything successful.
I just really wish they were still in Seattle. So every time anything cool happens there, I'm like, it should have been the Sonics, man. I can't do it, but I'm still going Thunder. They're going to win it. Thunder in 6. Luka still needs a little more help. Great season for them. No knock against the Mavs, who are they still in the lead before we move on?
Yes, by 4.
Ooh, still keeping it close. All right, we have 2 other series that we haven't talked much about. Well, actually, no, we only have one more, right? Because we've already talked about Boston. Well, no, let's go back to Boston and Cleveland. Yeah, we talked about the game, right? But I don't know if we ever officially put our names on a prediction. So, Nate, what are your thoughts, Boston, Cleveland?
Boston in 5.
Ooh, running back. They're going to be revengeful. That's a word. Look it up. James, what do you think? Boston coming back with the gentleman sweep here? They were just letting the Cavs feel good about themselves?
No, I think it'll go 6. I think they'll split in Cleveland, and then Boston will finish it out from there. I do think they're the better team. I'm not fully on board with their head coach and no KP either.
Give me Boston in 7. I think this one has the opportunity to go the distance. But yeah, I'm very cautious, but come on, Celtics. Yeah, you can do it. Clayton, y'all owe me 50 push-ups. Cavs went further than the Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'll do it. I need it.
I don't owe shit here. I wasn't on for that.
Nate's like, listen, I only bet in shoes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
I don't know
Nate is a shoey or bus guy, and let me tell you, he pays up. He pays his dues.
He does. He always pays his debts. And there you go. Clayton's probably going to tell us what do you think, Clayton? You're still there in the chat. Cavs in 5, Cavs in 6. How do you see your boys taking down the Celtics? Unfortunately, the panel is not in your favor tonight, but hey, prove everybody wrong. I definitely think they are right up there with the Celtics. I know they're going to win a few more games. Lee agrees. He says if Cavs can stay healthy, they will go to 7 games. I like that assessment. I think it's going to be a 7-game series. Now, before we move into the next series with my beloved Indiana Pacers, I have one last small topic to discuss. It kind of ties back to what we talked about with Minnesota and Jamal Murray. Patrick Beverley has been suspended for 4 games of next season. Start with you, Nate. Too little, not enough, too much? What do you think of the 4-game suspension for throwing a ball at fans twice?
He should have been suspended 10 games for that clownery with his podcast and the interview or so. Yeah. Let's bump the suspension up more. Pat Bev would be a perfect Minnesota athlete to have. So Yeah, no, that suspension should go up more personally.
No, he can't go back to Minnesota. Him celebrating the play-in win like it was his national championship, his one shining moment, is probably the reason that they lost so early in those playoffs. No, he needs to stay away. He's not a winner, and the Timberwolves are winners now. Clayton says Levert showed up tonight. I love me some Karis Levert. So I said funny Karis Levert joke. Somebody said Karis Levert plays as if he has a random wheel with 100 different NBA players, and he spins it every time he gets the ball to see who he's going to play that. Like one possession,
That's
it's Anthony
funny.
Bennett. He goes from Anthony Edwards to Anthony Bennett, and in 2 possessions was essentially the essence of the tweet. But I love me some Karis Levert. John says 4 games not enough for Pat Bev. James, do you agree with?
No.
What about Nate's thoughts? I kind of agree with Nate that there should be repercussions for his actions in the locker room. So if you want, combine the two. What do you think? Should he have a stiffer punishment?
Yeah, it's fucking 4 games is bullshit, man. I'm just gonna call a spade here. He's just gonna act a fool on the court, and then he's gonna act a fool in the locker room. Like I am not a Pat Bev person. I'm fucking tired of him. He's not that good. And ESPN blacklisted him. ESPN's not going to let him on any of their shows anymore. But the NBA gives him a 4-game suspension. Get the fuck out of here, man. That's fucking stupid.
That's ridiculous. You know how that could hurt?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to – here's the thing. Pat Bev's career is over. Who is going to want to pay him the vet minimum to potentially mess up their locker room and potentially fuck up their television scheduling? Because if it's between whoever's got Pat Bev in their matchup on the schedule and somebody that's got equal drawing power, I bet you ESPN takes the less probable of the two 9 times out of 10. So who's going to want to deal with him? I'm with James. I'm not a Pat Bev guy. His whole career, if you lay it out, it's absolutely absurd. He started out as one of the happy to be there guys, really busted his ass. It's a great story the way he got into the league, got way into his head. Remember, it was almost 5 years ago to the day that he said, Curry's had his time. The next 5 years are mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the years were his, but not in a good way.
Yeah, there's the memes of him pointing at the camera when the ref got that call wrong. That was pretty good.
Yep.
No, he's a bum in my humble opinion. He's one of those guys that I think as a fan, you absolutely hate him when he's not on your team. And because he's on your team, you'll defend his behavior and you'll say things like, oh, he's just he's like the goon, right? I'm thinking about hockey terms, Nate, how at least back in the day, there was always that one designated defenseman who was just kind of there to fight. The Pacers have him. His name's James Johnson. He does not play. He's literally there to put Bobby Bortis in an arm bar if he doesn't act right. So it's a thing that you can have. But it's not usually a 6'1" point guard, who at this point, I'm starting to agree with Russ Westbrook's assessment. I think Pat Beverly tricked a lot of people into thinking he was very good at defense just by being someone who was annoying and face guarded a lot when he was on TV, which is not, James can tell you there better than I can. Schematically, probably not playing great team defense, just trying to look good for the cameras, being up in Russ Westbrook's ass. So Pat Beverly, I think, especially when you consider the fact that both those things happened on the same night, I think they should have taken stronger action.
I agree. They happened right after each other.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, immediately back to back. It should have been more, but part of me wonders if it wasn't just to not ruffle any feathers with the players union, because that's the other thing. There are other the rest of the players will look at this. So maybe this was the NBA saying, well, nobody's going to sign this knucklehead now, so let's just suspend him 4 games and be done with it, so we don't have to go back and forth. I mean, I'm not saying the logic's good. I'm just trying to explain it.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid, man. The NBA is gutless.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not gonna support your fucking media people. You're not gonna support your fans. Like
your fans, yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
And that one of the most respected people in NBA media, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. It's not some nobody.
everybody who's ever had a job in sports media came to her defense on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like very, very rare. She's like the anti. I was gonna say Dan Dockich as a joke,
Greg,
but I'll say
well, hey, you know what? You know
Greg
what?
Doyle's the good one. Yes,
Yeah.
the anti Greg
Yeah.
Doyle is the good one.
You know what though? You could still put Dan Dockich in there too. I gotta say though, I am very salty that none of my Minnesota sports trolling attempts have been completely acknowledged by John whatsoever during the show, and it makes me kind of sad.
Yeah.
'Cause that's why I could
He's
decide.
just, yeah.
It's okay. We'll clip them and turn them into shorts so they live on the channel forever. And then at some point he'll have to react.
At some point he has to respond.
You mentioned Greg Doyle, Nate, and that before we go, since we're talking Pacers, it'll be just as decent of a segue. Greg Doyle is banned, not necessarily banned. He will not be attending, and I can't remember if it was the league that did this, but I believe it was his boss, right?
think
He was
the-
suspended
his boss
from the Indy Star, and he will not be attending any Indiana Fever games in person. For those of you who didn't catch this one, Caitlin Clark does one of these. I'm a big fan of these two. I like to throw these around in our Discord. She did a heart hand towards her mother after a game. I think it was just a preseason game. Might have even just been a practice. I don't remember the situation in which she threw the heart hand, but Greg Doyle, like just weirdo that he is. Not the first or last time he's put his foot in his mouth. The last most hilarious one I remember was him mistaking a crucial catch jacket for a LGBT pride jacket that he thought Colts head coach Shane Steichen was wearing. You know, in a league where they literally mandate everything you wear.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't recognize the crucial catch logo and tried to. But again, has nothing to do with anything. It was a weird, odd side comment that Greg Doyle felt he needed to make, made things awkward, got him mocked and ridiculed amongst fans and peers. Well, he goes and does the same thing for no reason, has nothing to do with anything. Number 1 overall pick, Caitlin Clark is there. He's like, I saw you did that little heart hand gesture. What's that all about? She tells everyone there it's something that every game I go do that towards my mom. And he says, well, you do that to me every game. We'll get along just fine. And I kid you not, my grandfather rolled out of his grave, sat up and slapped his knee laughing because he thought it was fucking hilarious. But he is 80-something years old. And as I mentioned, no longer with us. Rest in peace, Grandpa. I love you. But Greg Doyle, what the fuck is in your head, Nate? What do you think about this?
Fuck that guy. Like, there's nothing more to say rather than completely fuck that guy for being, gross. You know, let's put the creepy aspect of it aside because that's the number, to me, that's the number one reason. But let's dive into it deeper. Okay. So she's not played she has played in Indianapolis as a Iowa Hawkeye, but has not played a Fever game yet. Big news, helping the league, but like, what kind of ass-hattery questions? I mean, like, this should be generally a serious, press conference. What kind of ass-hattery comes up with a question talking about God knows what? I mean, good Lord, please find better reporters for the WNBA moving forward. Please.
Hey, call Megan L. Hall. All right. Find her on Twitter. Phenomenal WNBA reporter and journalist. I don't know if she's going to want to travel, all that way, but goddamn, she'd do a much better job than Greg Doyle. So just couldn't have represented Indianapolis in a worse way. Journalists, like, there's just so many people that he just made look stupid by being a weird old creep. James, you got anything to add to this?
He's a weird old creep, and the national media just got a whiff of it.
Yeah, welcome to our nightmare.
Yeah, it's so uncalled for, and it was so creepy, and I'm agree with it all. He should have been suspended. He shouldn't be able to cover him. Like, it was Caitlin Clark's introductory press conference is the number 1 overall pick. And then his apology post too was bullshit too. His write up
Yeah,
was
like-
so like it's so
He
it was
like,
so
behind a
forced.
paywall. He
Yeah.
put it behind. He had faked an apology on Twitter, and when you click the link, it's a paid article. You can't read
Yeah,
his apology
it's-
for free.
It's so
Scumbag.
bad.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Nate. I talked over you.
and then I'm just reading a Fox 59, which is the local Fox affiliate here in Indianapolis. He posts on social media and that in his uniquely oafish way, he made a clumsy and awkward comment to Clark. Like,
Which is all he
why would
ever
you
does.
why would you describe it like that? Just say, I made a decision to make a weird comment. I apologize for that. Let's move forward. Instead
That's
of
all you have to
whatever
say.
the fuck he decided to write.
Yeah.
How about maybe even be? I was nervous in such a, which it might be the part that he's not able to admit, but the best look, and if I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, I think what happened is I'm nervous. I'm trying to break the ice. I made a very bad, awkward joke. I think it's the creep factor isn't really going to do much, but I don't know. Just don't there's acknowledging it, and then there's trying to lean into it, and then to have the audacity to ask people to pay to read your apology article. Fucking wild, dude. You do not know the temperature of the room. Honestly, I think at this point, maybe the Indy Star keeps him around just for the hate clicks, because every time he posts, there's 10 to 15 people saying I'm canceling my subscription, but they all interact with the tweets. So I don't know. Maybe they're still getting ad revenue from it. I don't know. It makes no sense. Holmgren made a turnaround 3 at the end of the first. Lee wants to know if you saw that, James.
I did not see it. I'm not watching the game. I just got the score up. So I love me some Chet. I love Chet.
I am pumped to see those highlights.
Luka has 16 in the first. Shea has 10. Big time scoring game incoming.
Oh, gonna be one of those games. Well, that'll be fun to watch. Well, with that in mind, we still got to talk a little Pacers Knicks. We won't keep you guys for too much longer. Before we move on, I have to say thank you if you've been here commenting. We greatly appreciate it. You help make the show much more fun for us, and it makes a better program overall. So we greatly appreciate you. Love those lurkers out there. And please, if you have a second, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And maybe if you could just give us the old share on Twitter too as well. Maybe we can get some angry hate clicks, much like Greg Doyle. All right, guys, it's time for my medicine. It's time to be in pain. As Kenny put it earlier, the Pacers were screwed in game 1. The refs were wearing blue and orange units out there. And game 2, Rick Carlisle decided things weren't much better, and they finally filed a complaint. I believe 78 calls that the Pacers are contesting that they said were wrong calls that benefited the Knicks. James, I'm going to start with you. Just general thoughts on the series so far. Do you think the officiating has been good, bad? Is it a value? Is it a reasonable excuse for the Pacers right now? Go ahead.
I hate excuses. They had a couple very obviously bad calls down the stretch in game 1. It's just a fucking excuse, man. Like, they're going to turn in 78 clips. Like, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to change anything. They're down 2-0. They're just making excuses now.
Watching.
I said it when they lost that. They want to complain about the calls. I get it. Whatever. Tyrese Halliburton had 6 points on 6 shots in game 1 in a very winnable game 1. Tyrese Halliburton was non-fucking-existent in game 1, and they had a chance to win. He was much better in game 2, but the Knicks were also much better. Brunson, Josh Hart, and DiVincenzo were great. I hear it. I get it, but like, is that going to be how it's going to be for the next year, Kev? When you guys lose and you're just going to blame the refs? That's how this is going to be the narrative. Like, not the Knicks are fucking tougher, scrappier, better than us. Like, let's not forget the Knicks are playing without arguably their second best player right now. Randall's not been playing. He's out. Yeah,
Brunson's out here on a Kobe-esque stretch.
Yeah.
Just 40 points a night.
Josh Hart's getting every single rebound known to mankind. He's just flying through. DiVincenzo looks 10 times better than he did for the Warriors last year.
I need to go find Josh Hart's bitch ass when he gets here to Indianapolis because you know what? Like, I hate the fact that I have to defend Indianapolis in this scenario because, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Indiana, period. But I want to go find his ass and take a bunch of pork tenderloin sandwiches and just throw them at his face and tell him, you know what? You hate Indiana so much? Here you go, motherfucker.
I love a pork tenderloin.
The comments,
man.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, here's the deal. Like, is it bad? Yes. Is it as bad as they think? Absolutely not. Was there a couple of really bad calls in game one? Absolutely. And Tyrese Halliburton not show up in game one? 100%. Like, whatever you want your excuse to be, man. Like, cool. Like, but that's what it's trending towards. A bunch of Pacers fans bitching and moaning about the refs for the next year as they get swept out of the playoffs.
Well, we can't complain about Miles Turner trade rumors anymore, so we got to find something to latch on to.
You will. I mean, summer's almost here.
Nate, sounds like you are angry at Josh Hart, but are you angry enough to say that this is the ref's fault? Are they giving this one to New York?
This series, I feel like, should be a 1-to-1 coming here to Indianapolis. Again, like, at some point, you just got to get over it and move on, as unfair as that is, though. It sucks. I mean, period. It sucks. I was sitting there watching and I'm thinking, like, man, as much as I seen Kevin upset at video games when I play him in, like, NCAA and stuff, I cannot imagine how he feels right now. I wouldn't want to be within 10 miles of him in that scenario. But really, I mean, still have 5 games to get things together, win 4 or 5. It's still possible.
Yeah, luckily for me, I've worked a lot on that old anger management. So, but there's definitely been some yelling. There's definitely been, if I wasn't getting those calls in 2K, you bet, dude, I would be. It'd be done, dude. I would have just conceded. I was like, you win. Fine. That's fine. You win.
What's worse? What's worse? The calls in game 1 or when I go for 2 and kick onside in football?
Oh, dude. I think it's you going for 2 or the onside kick in NCAA. And I actually like what Nate in the chat has to say about this. Officiating doesn't cover up the fact that the Knicks have beat the Pacers at their own game. Tons of points and good pace, but to casuals, Rick's comments last night are covering this up, and I agree with that. And you guys, people may be surprised. That's why I kind of wanted to wait to go till last, in case people thought I would come in and defend Pacers fans and Rick Carlisle for this behavior, this approach. I don't disagree with there being a lot of missed calls. There's one. Talk about being mad at Josh Hart. There's the one fast break footage of Hart shoving Halliburton in the back while he dribbles past him. No call. There's one where Jalen Brunson clearly gets away with a charge, makes a basket, and then gets an and one off of some contact from Jalen Smith, where it's like, man, these are really, really bad calls. Obviously, the moving screen, one of the worst calls I've ever seen. The kicked ball that wasn't kicked. Like, these are very, very bad calls, but it's never an excuse. All the way back, as long as I've been around sports, any coach worth their pay would tell you, don't let it be that close. Don't let it get that close. Don't put yourself in a position where a referee who is human, who can make mistakes, might make that mistake. You might not get the opportunity back, so don't put it in their hands. Handle your business. And that's really what it comes down to. The Pacers in game need to make sure that they are doing a better job of, and I hate to use LeBron as an example, but of not LeBroning it up out there. Quit throwing temper tantrums. Focus on the game. Quit talking to the refs. Do not talk to the refs. Let Rick do that. Hell, if Rick gets ejected from a game, that might be a win-win for everybody. Get him out there So the rotation will look a little better, and there'll be a little bit of energy because Rick went out and fought one for the boys. Let that happen. But quit arguing throughout the game. Believe it or not, that's not going to help you get future calls. The refs don't sit there and think, oh, yeah, after he berated me, you know what? He was right. I'm going to make sure I give him that call next time. If anything, they're going to be like, this fucking prick. Why does he talk to me like that? So it's even if you just want to be selfish about it, it's not in your best interest to do it. So don't do it. Have a cooler head. And Rick Carlisle, or whoever you assigned to go find 78 calls, which you thought cost your team this game.
Some
are
poor
watching
video
film.
guy just got mowed down.
Yeah, somebody just stayed up. Some poor dude hasn't seen his family in 2 days because Rick is doing a horrible job at coaching. You could watch it in the first round. He was having horrible rotation issues. Again, in this series, TJ McConnell's been one of the best backup point guards in the NBA from the last 2 weeks of regular season on, and Rick won't play him when he should be playing him. And instead, you have a video guy spend a whole day's worth of overtime looking for bad calls. You're watching film for the wrong reasons, sir.
Yep.
Why don't you watch film and put that critical eye upon yourself and upon your team and figure out how you can counter attack what the Knicks are doing to you and go out there and coach and win a fucking game instead of you spending all this time looking for excuses? Are you kidding me? This series is over. I'm so sorry. I love the Pacers. My first favorite team of all time.
Justin Herbert. Gosh dang
Justin Herbert in the chat. Shout out. But the series is done. If that's your mentality, it's done. If they don't come out and beat New York by at least 8 points at home in game 3, then it's already over. I mean, if they have to squeak one out, maybe it'll give them some sort of elevation. But no, that to me, you're waving the white flag at this point. If you're pouting and saying, but sir, look, you guys cost us that game. You got to win 4. So enough. They're only halfway there. The home team usually wins the home games, right? It's been a saying for as long as I can remember. The series hasn't started till someone loses at home. All right? Get over it. Get back to work and show out for that loud-ass crowd that will be there on Friday. I don't know if I'll be there, guys. I'm back in the mix. I thought I was going to be out of the mix because my car went to the shop. Car is fixed. I'm in it.
He's
so
back,
you might see me up there in those nosebleeds tomorrow night. I'll make sure. I'll make sure the Knicks know we're about it.
If you do, just let me know.
Okay. Oh, you know it. I'm gonna hit you up. So okay, guys. I guess it's nut cutting time or net cutting time. Justin's got a take. I will get to that here in 1 second. But we'll start with Nate. Who's winning this series? Knicks, Pacers.
I hate to say it, but the Knicks, unfortunately.
Yes, sir. James, do you agree? How many games you got?
Knicks in 5. I think they'll split there, be up 3-1, and close it at home.
The gentleman's sweep. Listen, I might be doing this in part to motivate the Indiana Pacers because I know every single Indiana Pacer watches this show. Thanks, guys. Shout out. We appreciate you and your undying support. So despite my cheeky little headline here, I think it's Knicks in 6. And I did pick the games because they rhymed. So fair. Just so everybody's aware. But Knicks are going to take it down. I would love to see the Pacers prove me wrong. I will still view the Pacers losing this series as a win overall for the season. They lost Mathurin, one of their best bench scorers. They have to survive the ups and downs of Rick Carlisle, who I don't super love. I was really hyped when they brought him back. Now maybe I can understand why Mavericks fans weren't sad to see him go. But I think this is a very young team, and Siakam has seen enough to know that he can go on a playoff run with this team. They get a couple more talented depth pieces, and they're right there. They're good to go. Everybody stays healthy. I think this is a team could be playing an Eastern Conference final in a year or two, but this is not the year for my Pacers. And hopefully I just jinxed us. Hopefully I just jinxed them, and they will. You guys can clip this until I'm dead, just to mock me for doubting our boys. But I am going with the Knicks in 6. So there you have it. Those are all of our round breakdowns and predictions for where we're at this point in the playoffs. Let's see, checking up with some Justin Herbert chat. Shouts out, brother. Thank you for coming on. There's one of them I cannot put up on screen, but so just be careful. Look for you, Leap. But we all know Justin is not a Knicks fan, so no. Keebs, he says Keebs Knicks going to get crushed by Boston in the Eastern Conference. Regardless, I don't know. I think whoever Boston plays is gonna give them a hard time at this point, especially after that Cleveland game tonight. I think Boston will whoever it takes. I don't think they're sweeping anybody if they do even win it all. The Sixers will get a ring next. Justin says next year for sure. Mark it down.
Hey, Justin Herbert, you want to bet $50 on that? Because I'll bet you $50 on that.
Ooh, we went from shoey to 50 push-ups to $50. It's a banner
50,
episode.
You know what? $50 and a shoey.
And a shoey. Oh my God. That's a market value of about $58, folks.
Why Herbert got to come for me like this? Like this,
man,
what's he doing?
Rubbing Joe Alt in your face, dude. I
know.
That's funny.
Herbert, who you guys gonna throw to, man? Who you gonna throw to? Joe Alt?
Throw to Joe Alt. They're putting him in a tight end.
Hey, Justin Herbert, done. I will take that bet, guaranteed. Done.
Chargers versus Bears bet, folks. There it is, $50. Better record. My God, dude, I've got to go with the Bears. Sorry, Justin. The Bears have reincarnated Prince at quarterback. That's wild, dude. You can be out there. Dude's gonna be out there humming when doves cry as he dices your defense.
Okay.
Gonna have his nails painted 8 different colors. Just ooh.
Okay, so you got a guy I've never heard of. No Hands Johnston. Palmer, I guess, is fine as a third option, and then Hurst. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
A few years past his prime.
That's like worse than the Bears 2 years ago.
Ooh, spicy. Jerry Rice's son. Okay. What? Hopefully he's more Ken Griffey Jr. and not Jeffrey Jordan. You know, you just never know if those guys are going to actually be good. What are you looking something up, Nate? Or,
I was just curious here.
No, I just want to make sure I didn't move on. If you had a point you wanted to make with Justin,
you know,
Lad McConkey.
I
10 out of 10 name though. Lad McConkey. Come on, that sounds like something you had one too many edibles before you fired up your creative player, and you ended up naming him Lad McConkey. What's going on, Mom and Dad? What are we doing there?
I mean,
Lad McConkey. This
is more of a Chargers indictment, but Lad McConkey will probably be the number one receiver in, Los Angeles.
Hey, we did get a footballs bounce too segment in today. I love that. Look at that. Well, fellas, that wraps it up for my run of show today. Do either of you have anything else that you want to discuss with the fine folks at home?
No, sir.
Out. Nate, what about you?
Just in general, don't ever put any money on any Minnesota sports teams to do anything. That's my word of wisdom there.
DJ Shark DJ what? Yeah, I don't know him either. Well, there we have it, folks. Special thanks to you, Nate, for hanging out with us for the whole episode. That was awesome. We appreciate you, brother. James, as always, glad to have you here holding it down with me. All the folks at home, we love you. Shout you out. I will shout out our chatters here in a second. But first, Nate, where can the fine folks at home find you?
With it being the month of May, down on 16th in Crawfordsville Road.
Ooh, Dox. Nate
Mhm.
doxed himself. I think that has something to do with the old Indy 500, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Woo! I might not. Nate knows this. I was thinking about attending, but I've got work the day before, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to swing it. But I got my wheels fixed now, so I am back.
He's still mobile.
I am road trip accessible once again, and I might someday be making a road trip to meet up with James. But James, in the meantime, where can I find you online?
Outside of here, you can catch me and you over on our sister station Dweeb talking Star Wars every Wednesday at 9 p.m. and on Mondays talking nerd stuff. I think this is the exact crew getting back together Monday, right? This is the Fallout crew on Monday, part deuce.
That is correct, Nate, right?
Yep.
You locked in for Monday night on Dweeb?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Monday night, 6 p.m. We're going round 2 on our newest show, the Weekly Dweeb, talking more Fallout. Nate's going to give his opinions, and I'm going to go deep dive and do a bunch of fan theories this weekend and see what I can come up with. I plan to be an expert by Monday. I've never played a game, ever.
It's going to be fun. Don't worry. Not only have I played some, but I am going to be playing some on Dweeb to get us ready for that. So I'm real pumped, guys. Don't forget to check out the episode we just did, so you can hear our 2 hours of Fallout thoughts we've already had. Sorry, James, I cut into your promo.
No, you're
there.
good.
Sorry about
just that. Tomfoolery. Just come on down. It's mania.
It is a wonderful time, and you guys can find me whenever I'm not here on Wednesday nights, actually right here, because Carnage Unleashed does stream to Bite Size Sports. So if you're not subscribed to Carnage Media, go ahead and do that. But don't worry, you'll still be able to find us right here. I start my official career as a football play-by-play commentator this Saturday, fellas. I've done one preseason game, but it's time for the big show. The Flag City Phantoms taking on the Lima Warriors, and I am very excited about that. I've been playing a lot of Madden on mute to give my, so I have to call the game. Got to get my reps in somehow. I got Hearts on Fire playing in the background, and I got a bucket full of ice, and I'm just busting my ass, dude, getting as many reps in as I can. Let's go. Lima Warriors, big juice at QB. Okay, all right. I like that, Justin. Oh, hopefully you're watching, man. That will be live streamed on the Lima Warriors Facebook page. And hopefully I'm going to see, we might actually, maybe they'll let us re-upload them here on this channel or something. I'd love to get that league more exposure and get more eyes on them. So we'll see, more to come there. Other than that, everything James said about Dweeb, on top of the fact that I'll also be doing some live stream. We're going to be doing more video game stuff over there on Dweeb, so be on the lookout for that. I'm sure I am missing and forgetting something. Clout Route Tuesday, Sunday, 6:15, 8:15 Eastern, give or take. Sometimes we go nearly 3 damn hours. We just hit YouTube partner program over there, so we have special members only streams, all kinds of good stuff. So Danny, who just did our Fallout Part 1 with James and I, is my co-host over there. So we got a bunch. Now's a real good time. If you just stumbled across us and you had a good time for the last hour and a half, a bunch of us just did a bunch of shit together, and we have more shit coming out. So you picked a great day to be here. Follow us on all our socials. That's the best way. As you can tell, we all got a few things in the mix, so to say, and it might be easiest just to follow us on our personal Twitters, where we always retweet our own stuff. It feels like that meme where Obama's putting a medal on Obama. That's how I feel every time I retweet a Bite Size Sports post. But we love all of you at home. Thank you so much again. Justin Herbert, of course, in the chat. We got Nate in the chat, Lee Harding, Bite Size Vikes, Clayton Scalina. Go check out his podcast, by the way, Hot Take Sports. Clayton is my co-host with Wade over on Carnage Unleashed every Wednesday, but he runs with the Hot Take Sports crew. Check them out. We got Kenneth Jordan as well. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, everybody. So sorry if I missed anybody in the chat. And once again, shout out to all of our lurkers. We love you very much. And all there is left to say is it's time for our ad break. Oh, whoops. Yes, there we go. Justin Herbert gets the last word. We love it. Special word from our friends over at W. We will see you guys next week.
Sports.
Are you looking for an energy boost without the jitters? Let our friends at W Energy help you with their fantastic selection of flavors. Just visit www.w.gg and use the code BITESIZESPORTS at checkout for 10% off your order total. Again, that is www.du